Welcome back to Rethink Your Legacy. We're bringing you one of our favorite episodes from this year. Hope you enjoy it.
Uno, dos, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Good morning. Beautiful Sunday morning here on Rethink Your Legacy. I'm Francisco Servet, your host, your attorney and problem solver at law. And I just welcome you. It's a beautiful day out. Actually got a little bit of warmth. My pool has water in it. If you guys have been listening to a while, you know the long story of getting a pool built during Corona, and the kids finally have somewhere to splash, even though it's freezing. They're now happy. So good morning, everybody. Rethink Your Legacy. This radio show is 100% dedicated to helping you create a new legacy for you and your loved ones. That's the whole thing. I think legacy, it's not a word we use every day. It's not a word we talk about, going to work, talking to our buddies. Hey, man, what's your legacy? It's a thing that, if you're not careful, happens by accident. I think most people end up with a legacy they didn't intend. And yeah, that's what I'm here to fight against. I'm here to help wake us up to the fact that we shouldn't let that happen by accident. I mean, no. Every single minute that you're listening here with me right now is another moment that you're either creating your legacy. Well, it's not either. You are creating it, but you're either creating it intentionally or completely just by happenstance and letting it be created for you. I believe we should step into that. We should own it. And we should be very intentional about it. I've often said, and I tell this to my clients, our estate plan, as boring as it is, it's our last chance to make a difference. We have a million chances right now. If you're hearing this, you've got chances to make a difference right now with your family, your loved ones. Your estate plan, it's the last chance. You don't want to miss out on that chance either, right? So that's just what I believe about what it means to rethink your legacy. This week, man, there's never a shortage of crazy news, good news, bad news to kind of get us going. I think for me, the couple things that are most interesting this week are the fact that we had an Arizona Supreme Court justice resign, Justice Gould. That was a short stint at the Supreme Court. Lots of speculation about what's going on there, but he's resigned, and now that's gonna open up a spot for another appointment. So that process has got to be underway. But really, I think this week it's all about stimulus checks, right? Stimulus, holy moly! How much money can the government print? Yeah, it boggles my mind. It's hard to even imagine that there is a thing that can just print money. And it really is a thing, we're talking to friends and we're looking around and going yep, stimulus hit the bank, stimulus hit the bank, stimulus hit the bank. And it's where is this coming from? I don't know. I mean, it's almost $2 trillion that was just sort of created out of thin air. I don't know. The piece of that leads to what I think, like I said, if we're going to be aware, if we're going to really be intentional about this, we have to let our minds think for a second, where is this coming from? And, President Biden is not hiding where he believes it's going to come from. He is going to raise taxes. And I was just reading through some notes of an interview he did. And it's pretty clear his goal has been to raise taxes even before he was talking about this extra, $1.9 trillion package he said he's going to raise it on the wealthy. I just want to let everybody know the taxes are going to actually be raised across the board. I mean, just in this Wednesday interview, he said that if you make less than $400,000, you won't see a single penny in additional federal tax. And I'd shake my head because I know that isn't true, because they're proposing to actually tax everybody from $1 on the capital gains taxes, on the death taxes, and things that happen in your estate. Yeah, you might be gone, but I mean, I was just talking with a client yesterday who I had to warn them, like, hey guys, you need to know that if these laws pass and you don't do something to avoid these taxes, you're going to see almost 80% of your estate go to the federal government. 80%. 80%. And these were not, quote unquote, the wealthy. This was a normal family. So anyway, this is what I hope to do today. What I decided is that I think I wanted to just give you guys something that was sort of like an idea of what your family could do, right? There's so many excuse me, there's so many tools out there. Like, you can read a long article on, do I need a trust? And a long article on, should I get a will or a trust? And another article, or maybe even watch a video on, what is a living will? What's a healthcare directive, right? You can gather all those things, but I don't see a lot of people putting something out that's like, hey, if this is your family makeup, here's what you need. Just quick snapshot, poof. Hey, if your family is A, B, C, D, then you need XYZ, right? And so what I put together is actually, I was kind of happy. I found I had created these before, so I got to pull them out, dust them off, update them a little bit. And what we have and what I'm going to go through are 3 actual case studies, 3 detailed case studies of 3 different families, completely different situations, and what type of documents they need, what type of strategies, tax savings, blah, blah, blah. Just all of that. So the 3 families that we're going to go through, I'm going to break them apart because we've got enough time to go through all of them very carefully. And so the first one is going to be so these are my hypothetical couples, right? This is Rich and Mary Smith, and I've got this actually in a handout. You guys can go grab it. It's at radio.keystonelawfirm.com, and the system will send it to you by email. Just go to radio.keystonelawfirm.com. You can do it on your phone. Just drop your name and email in, and the system will send you these. It's a 4-page report, like 4 pages of these case studies, and you can go through it with me right now during the show. So jump over there and grab that. The first couple, the first example, their name is Rich and Mary Smith. They're retirees, ages 69 and 67. We're going to go through their plan. Second case study, hypothetical, is Wilma Johnson. She's a widow. She's 79 years old. The third case study is John and Amy Beckett. They are young-ish parents, professionals, ages 46 and 45. And so those are the 3 case studies that I have. And like I said, if you go to radio.keystonelawfirm.com, happy to send that to you. It just gets fired off by an email, radio.keystonelawfirm.com. Enter your name, your email. The system will shoot it over to you immediately. Grab those for your notes. So you can go through this with me while we talk about each one. I'm going to break down, for example, like what their family makeup is, what their assets are, what their income is, some of the special things that maybe make it a little bit nuanced, so you can kind of hear how we would talk those through. And then what are the tools, the documents, the plans, the strategies, the process, etc., that each one of these hypothetical clients would go through to get their affairs organized. Okay? That's what we're going to do today. I want you guys to have these tools, because whichever one of these is closest to you, you could literally pull it out and go, yeah, that's close enough. Like, I get it. All right, I just need that, and that. And then you don't have to, wonder. You don't even have to go talk to a lawyer. You can just have it. You know what it is. And when you're ready, you need to be ready. If you don't have this, get it done. We've had so many people go into probate and call our office for help. They're in the middle of a nightmare. Families are fighting, or not fighting with each other. They're fighting with a bank, or they're fighting with a title company or somebody who won't release the assets. Please, people, get this stuff done. So anyway, go to radio.keystonelawfirm.com and you can get this download. If you need help, you can also just call our firm, 480-750-7788. Or you can send a text, right? You can just pop your phone open a new text message, and type 480-750-7788. If you need some help with anything related to your will, your trust, if you're going through a probate, you're going through a guardianship, you're trying to take care of an elderly family member, a parent, let us know. Be happy to help. Our first phone appointment is free. There's no charge. We just chat, figure out what's going on. 480-750-7788. After the break, we're going to dive into our first couple and go ahead and get that form, get that handout by going over to radio.keystonelawfirm.com. All right, see you guys back here in just a minute. Welcome back to Rethink Your Legacy. We're bringing you one of our favorite episodes from this year. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome back. It's Rethink Your Legacy time. This is Francisco Servette. Nice to be with you guys this morning. I just want to definitely say thanks to the folks who've given me a chance to get to know you, get to speak with you. You know who you are. You've told me that you're a regular listener, that you listened to the show for a while, and that, it's been helpful. I appreciate you guys reaching out to let me know. I don't really know. This is one of the weirdest ways to communicate, because I send the signal out and I have no feedback, right? I mean, this is a one-sided conversation, and so I have to be able to entertain myself through this. But it's good to know that some of you are also entertained, and I hope to make death and taxes not the most boring subject in the world every week here. So thank you for joining. Today we're going into some case studies. I want to make this easy for you to figure out what your family needs. The last thing that I want any of you to fall prey to is somebody tricking you into doing something you don't need. Or worse, somebody telling you need something less than you need. And then your family ends up paying 80% of the estate to taxes, like I described last time. So I just don't want that for any of you. So what I've got is this tool. It's our estate planning case studies. It's only 4 pages long. It's only 3 pages. The first one's just a cover sheet. But the 3 things on there are 3 different family scenarios. And, they're sort of, family dynamics, their assets, their income, some of the special things that they think about. And these are all hypothetical, but these are just common situations that come up. I want to put this in your hand. I want you to have this tool so that you can judge for yourself what you need. And so anyway, go to radio.keystonelawfirm.com and grab it, because I want to go through the first one right now. Radio.keystonelawfirm.com. Enter your name, email. It instantly will be sent to you. And you might need to check your spam folder just because it comes through the robotic systems. So the first couple here, the first hypothetical, the first case study is for Rich and Mary Smith. And so this is a retired couple. They recently retired, ages 67 and 69, right? And, this is probably one of the biggest groups of clients that we work with is folks who are either about to retire or they just retired. And there's a lot of things that change in life in that stage, and a lot of new things. I mean, the first thing I hear clients really concerned about is, I've got to make sure my money is going to last. We can't go broke. I do not want to get 90% of the way there and then run out of money and have to be dependent on my kids. I can't imagine what it would be like to have to move into my kids' basement, or have to be dependent on them. Some massive healthcare, expense just wipes me out, or I don't know, like that. Those are the biggest concerns, and and along with that discussion, along through their finances, their investments, and figuring that out, and kind of getting a game plan together for that, they realize that it's time to update the will, time to create a trust if they haven't done it before. And so this example is pretty common. This is a really common situation that we help. So if this is you and you're in that retirement stage, this is your section. This is time to pay attention. Or if your parents are in that stage, then this is what you can use to show them, to tell them, hey, here's a couple ideas. You guys get to hear me clear my throat today. It's all this dust and crazy wind we've been having, right? Okay, so Rich and Mary Smith. So they're retired. They've been married for 42 years. Rich is a retired engineer. Mary was a homemaker. They have 3 adult kids. Okay? So 3 adult kids. I don't intend to be completely cliche here with that. With Mary being the homemaker, just happens to be the most common scenario. We actually do work with a lot of clients where the situation is reversed, and so if it's reversed, great. They have 3 adult children. 2 of them are married, and altogether they have 7 grandkids. Okay, so their kids are all grown and gone, and that's their family makeup. So what kind of assets do they have? Well, they've got their home, and it's paid off. Hallelujah, right? If you're stepping into that retirement stage of life and you paid that last check to the bank, woohoo, right? There's a ton of freedom that comes from that. You don't have that big, gigantic cash drain every single month. So they've got their home. It's worth $325,000. They got about $20,000 in checking and savings, just kind of, their emergency fund. There's $200,000 in an annuity, and then they've got $375,000 in a mixture of IRAs and 401ks. So there's a few different accounts, but it all totals about $375,000. And then they've got a small after-tax investment account with some stocks and mutual funds, and that's worth $43,000. They each have a car. They have lent some money to one of their sons, and they actually, the plan is that he's paying it back. And, sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. But they do have a actual, loan to their son that he needed. Let's see. Rich received Social Security of $1,600 a month. Mary did earn some Social Security from some work she did, and she's at $400 a month. And then Rich actually has a nice pension of $2,200 a month. Okay, so that's where they're at. Their 3 children are grown. And they want to avoid probate. They want to leave everything to each other. It's pretty simple. Their kids equally. They know that one of their daughter's husbands is, he's kind of, he's not, he's just kind of the son-in-law. They don't want him to get any access to that inheritance. But they trust their kids. They know the kids will treat each other fairly. And this is the first estate plan. This is the first trust that they've done. So for their situation, I would absolutely always recommend a living trust, as the backbone of their plan. They're going to need all their healthcare documents, healthcare directives, healthcare power of attorney, living will, HIPAA authorization. And by doing this plan, they're going to easily save almost $70,000 in probate fees, because there's 2 of them. There's potentially 2 probates. So, and if you guys have followed the show long enough, you know that for each one of us, there's a probate at death. There's also a probate during life. And so they avoid all of those by doing this plan. They're going to create all their durable power of attorneys as well. And whenever you're doing a living trust, you're also creating a last will and testament that matches with your living trust. It's a safety net. It's a backup document. Your goal is to get everything funded into the trust regardless, but the will is there just in case. Okay, now for them, they've got a couple other issues that what I would want them to know about is how these other couple issues affect their family And then then you choose if you want to add these things. So what I just described just a second ago, that's the standard plan, right? Basic, it's the fundamental, it's foundational, get that done. There's these two other things are sort of the advanced plans. One is the standalone retirement trust that I would recommend for them because they've got almost $400,000 in qualified funds. And the other is a protected trust for beneficiaries so that their inheritance to their kids doesn't ever end up going to the in-laws, either during their kids' marriages or if there was a divorce. So those two things can help save them taxes and keep the inheritance in the family, keeps it going down to the grandkids. Okay, so all of that is packed in on one page. You can jump over to radio.keystonelawfirm.com and grab it. And that will be right there for you to enter your name, enter your email. The system will send it right off and you'll get it. Put it in your hands. All right. We are coming up on a break and our next case study is going to be about Wilma Johnson, the widow. If you need some help, I encourage you to know a couple things. Number one, we don't charge for that initial phone call. Just call the office, get it scheduled, and see how we can help. If we can't help, fine, I'm okay with that. But let us know if we can. Second is you can text the phone number and say, hey, I have a question, any question, 480-750-7788, and we'll do our best to get you an answer. The answer might be, let's schedule an appointment, but so be it. There's really no pressure with it, and you can just have the phone call and say thank you very much. 480-750-7788. And of course, if you're in the midst of a battle or in the midst of somebody who's passed away, or you're dealing with an elderly parent, let us guide you through that. It can be tough, and we'd love to offer you some help. All right, guys, see you in a minute. Welcome back to Rethink Your Legacy. We're bringing you one of our favorite episodes from this year. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome back. Good morning, everybody. If you're just joining us, my name's Francisco Servent, and I am with Keystone Law Firm. And this Sunday morning show is called Rethink Your Legacy to help you create that new legacy intentionally. Right? Don't trip over it and get the end of your life and go, wow, what did I just leave behind? Be intentional about it. And so today it starts, right? This might be your first time joining us, so I welcome you. You need to know that I give away stuff every single week, and all you have to do is go to radio.keystonelawfirm.com. And right on, our website, radio.keystonelawfirm.com. And this week you're going to get the 3 families case studies for what each of these different scenarios plan looks like, what kind of documents they need, what kind of things they should think about, and how much they can save in probate and in taxes and things like that. So we just covered Rich and Mary Smith, the retirees. Right now we're going to pick up with Wilma Johnson, a widow, who is 79 years old. And before I get into that, I just want to make sure you guys know how to get in touch with us. It's a phone call. It's a text message. You could walk in. You can send us a letter, whatever, right? The phone number is easy to send a text message to. It's honestly probably the easiest way. 480-750-7788. And you're welcome just to text and ask a question. If we can get you an answer, we will. And if it requires a conversation, we'll let you know. There's no real pressure to any of it. It's just hey, how can we help? Don't go through stuff here blindly. Don't struggle. I talk to so many families, and it's like, we've been trying to figure this out for so long. Just call. Like, there's no pressure. Like, let us help you figure it out. We've done it for thousands of families, and you get the advantage of that. That's why, there are people who are experts in the world and leverage their expertise big time, right? All right, Wilma Johnson. So she's our next case study. You can grab the case studies on the website, radio.keystonelawfirm.com. Enter your name and email, and it'll get emailed to you right away. I suggest doing that because then you can go through these with me as I'm going through them right now. If you don't have time, go there, get it. You can look at them later, save it for later. Maybe you'll want to share it with a family member, or maybe you are Wilma, right? You're in this stage of life, and you're in your late 70s, and you're like, darn kids, I want my kids to get their stuff done. Grab one and send it to them. Or just put their email address in the system and say, hey guys, I got it sent to you. It's my gift. So anyway, Wilma Johnson. She's 79. She's a widow. Here's her situation. So she's a retired homemaker. She has 2 adult children. Her daughter lives nearby. And so she's kind of the primary one involved in her day-to-day life. Son lives further away. Her husband passed away 5 years ago. He did serve. He is a veteran. He served in the Army. And he primarily was the one who managed the finances. So it's all still a little bit new to her and a little bit uncomfortable. Her assets. All right, so let's go through what these are. She's got the home. It's paid off. $400,000. It's about worth $400,000. She's got some checking and savings, about $52,000. And she has in total investments about $1.3 million, mixture of IRAs and then her brokerage account. So there's just a mixture of things there. And then this is the wrinkle. Her husband was just known for buying original issue stock and bond certificates. And so in their paper files, she has these random bonds that are, you can't look up the code and see what the value is. So we don't know. We don't know what the value of those are. It's unknown. Could be nothing. It could be something. And she has a car. And, of course, her personal items and stuff around the house. She's got Social Security of $2,200 a month, and her husband had a survivor's pension for her that'll be about $200 a month. And then from the investments, there's about $12,000 per quarter in dividends. So she's got that as her income. Okay, about $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Now the dynamics of the family are that with her daughter living nearby and her son not nearby, she knows that she's going to end up needing more help from her daughter. And she's okay with that, but she doesn't want to become a burden on her because, her daughter has 4 kids of her own. Her daughter works full time. And we had one gal who had to quit her job and move across country to come take care of her mom. And it literally took her about 3 years to get everything, doctor's appointments, hospital stays, emergencies, bank. Just took her about 3 years. When she finally got mom sort of situated and squared away, she went back to try to go to work, and she couldn't get a job because she herself was in her early 60s, and it was just like nobody apparently wanted to hire her. So Wilma is concerned about that, doesn't want to be a burden on her daughter, and she also knows that, there's this big looming risk of nursing home expenses, and that could just completely devastate her financial situation. So those are the concerns that she came with. If you haven't gotten the case studies yet, jump over radio.keystonelawfirm.com. All of this is outlined there. So you can just save it as a nice little resource for you later. You can share it with somebody, go over it, and learn how these things get put together. Okay, for Wilma, so what her plan would look like with her age, with her financial situation, I would also be pretty concerned. My first concern is the easy one. Let's get the basic estate plan done, the living trust, the will, the power of attorneys, the healthcare directives. We got to knock that out. All of those, there are 18 documents in that foundational package that I think everybody needs. And that's just the basic. But for her, so once we get that done, the immediate concern for me for her situation is this nursing home risk. What I want her to be aware of is that if she doesn't do anything, she does, and the bad thing happens where she does, get dementia, Alzheimer's, has a stroke, something, and ends up needing to go into assisted living or nursing home or memory care or some one of these long-term things. I want her to know that that's all out of pocket. It's not covered by Medicare, and she doesn't have long-term care insurance, so it's going to be out of pocket for her. I want her to know that while we're doing this conversation, because that's honestly, that's her biggest financial risk, because I think the average right now in Maricopa County is about $7,000 or $8,000 a month for that expense. It's huge. I mean, $80-some thousand a year, right? We had one client who 10 years, I believe they're going on 10 years in an assisted living home. And that just is a lot of money. And she just doesn't want to see what her and her husband built over their lifetime completely devastated. So she's curious about how can she protect her assets. So that's where we bring up the solution, which is called a healthcare asset protection trust. Okay, so your healthcare asset protection trust is a totally different trust than the living trust. I've done shows on this. We've talked about it. I've taught you guys about it. Maybe I need to do another one. It's been a while. The healthcare asset protection trust, she can move money in there and then wait the 5 years. I mean, if she's healthy enough and she doesn't need, anything great, then, 5 years go by anyway. And then at the end of 5 years, whatever's in that healthcare trust is exempt. It stays on the exempt side of the balance sheet. So that's the big consideration for her, is that healthcare asset protection trust. She has enough in IRAs, in retirement accounts, that I'd probably at least touch on the standalone retirement trust issue and whether that can help save some taxes, protect some of the assets for the beneficiaries. Just because, she's gonna leave some, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, $600,000, $800,000 to her kids, and it would be great for them to get it in a way that can't be lost to divorce or creditors, lawsuits, stuff like that. So you might as well inherit it in a way that's asset protected. But that would be her plan. Okay, so go get that case study, radio.keystonelawfirm.com, enter your name and email, and the system will send it off to you, radio.keystonelawfirm.com. And then you'll also have all three of these case studies. The next one that we're going to pick up on after the break is for John and Amy Beckett. They're in their mid-40s, and they got little kids. So let's get into what they're going to do. If you do need help right now, then give us a call, 480-750-7788. You can also, like I said, just shoot a text. Say, hey, I have a question. Blah, 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 blah. 480-750-7788. All right, we'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to Rethink Your Legacy. We're bringing you one of our favorite episodes from this year. Hope you enjoy it. Well, good morning. Welcome back to our last spot together, our last segment together, everybody. This is Francisco Servent, your attorney and problem solver at law, hailing all the way from Chandler at Keystone Law Firm. And we are a boutique estate planning firm. What I really am excited about in being a lawyer and owning a law firm is that I get to create our own rules. I get to create how we do things. And so when we see a better way to do something, that's, we jump on it. And what we did, one of the things that we did last year was we created a completely DIY service to get your estate plan done. It's called our Masterclass Kit. It's amazing. I've seen lots and lots of people go through this so far, and we're still getting some feedback that, hey, could you add this? And when we can, we will, and we do. It's great. I love it. So if you want in on that, you can still get in on that. Send a text to 480-750-7788 and just say, I want info on the Masterclass Kit, and it's a DIY service. It's $347 for all of your 8 legal documents in that kit. And if you send a text message in today, you'll get a promo code to save yourself $50 on that deal. So you can do that, 480-750-7788, and just say you want the Masterclass kit. What we're going to finish up with in this last section is our last case study for John and Amy Beckett, these young parents who are trying to protect their kids. If you need the case studies, then you need to just jump onto the website, okay? And that is radio.keystonelawfirm.com. And in that, just enter your name and email, and the system will send you, our website will fire it off to you, the case studies that I've been going through today. So John and Amy Beckett, they are 46 and 45. They've been married. They've got 4 kids, all right, 4 little kids, ages 10 to 16. They did some basic wills when their first child was born to make sure they named guardians. But, she's a teacher, he's an engineer, and they've actually been really, really diligent savers, like Dave Ramsey style. They've got they got out of debt, paid off all the student loans. They've been really diligent about living below their income, and they've just been stuffing money into their savings. And so what that means is they've actually accumulated more, and their oldest is now 16, and they're thinking, they're almost 18. I don't want them inheriting something, getting a pile of cash on their 18th birthday. So that's their big concern, is they don't want their young kids to get a pile of cash on their 18th birthday. So you can actually go down to the courthouse, Superior Court of Maricopa County, and it's once a week, on the same day every week. And you can actually, now that the courts are closed, you have to do it online, but there's a judge who has to sign off and give all these 18-year-olds their inheritances when the parents didn't plan. And it's literally like, happy birthday, here's $10,000. Happy birthday, here's $100,000. Happy birthday, here's $500,000. Because if you don't plan, it is absolutely mandatory that they get it. The law cannot hold it back. Nobody can hold it back until from after their 18th birthday. Poof, it's there. So, yeah, imagine getting a check of any size at your 18th birthday. What would it have done for you? So anyway, so John and Amy, they've got a house. It's worth $600,000. They've got a big mortgage on it still, $350,000. Got some money in checking and savings. They've built up the retirement accounts to $428,000. Amy's got some deferred comp accrued to her benefit, and then they've got a smaller investment account. John, he's got a stock option plan at work, and it's one of those things that's like really hard to figure the value on, so we kind of don't know. We don't have a definite answer on how much that's worth, but they've got 2 life insurance policies. He's got $1 million, and she's got $500,000 on her life. They do own a small cabin up north, and then they got a bunch of toys, cars, ATVs, camper trailer, that kind of stuff. And that's, they just want to make sure that if they died, their kids would not be taken by the state. Number one, nobody's moving into the CPS custody. And number two, they want to make sure their kids don't get a pile of cash at 18. Okay? So their first consideration for me, whenever someone's got minor kids, is to do a kids plan. This does 3 things. So the first thing is it names your permanent guardians. If you've got minors, you need to have somebody who's designated to take them over. Just this week, talking with a family who didn't do that, and the kids are literally split up now. There were 6 kids. 2 of them are at 2 different group homes. CPS had to place them into a group home. And then the 4 younger ones are with a distant relative. I mean, name someone. That's the first thing it does. It names that permanent guardian. Second, it names some temporary guardians, right? You might be okay with your kids going to, their friend's house for a weekend if the permanent guardian lives out of state. But then the third thing it does is it names who absolutely never, ever, ever should get your kids. And that's the confidential exclusion list, okay? So those 3 things in the kids plan, they absolutely need. And then with protecting the kids from getting a pile of cash at 18, this is the time for them to set up a living trust. period. That's what they need. They need to get it all funded into a living trust so they avoid the cost of probate at their death, but then they also avoid the cost of probate for their kids. So there's a probate to get it from mom and dad ready to be given to the kids, but if the kids are minors, you can't give it to them. So the court sets up another probate for the kid to be able to receive that check into the kid's probate. And we have one of these going, we have a couple of these going right now, and it's just like triple the cost. It's so expensive. So you've got to have that living trust if you've got little kids and you don't want them to get a pile of cash. All right. Now, what I didn't mention for all three of these people, all three of these case studies, is that all three of them should use our annual checkup list to just double check once a year. Hey, what do I need to do? Anything changed on this list? I think there's like 16 yes or no questions, and it's did something change here? Yes or no? And then that triggers what happens next. Whew, okay. Well, there you go, guys. There's some case studies. This is the kind of thing that normally we do with lawyers, but when we're training lawyers. But hey, I thought this would be good for you. So if you haven't got the case study report, this handout yet, these three estate planning case studies, go to radio.keystonelawfirm.com. You can grab it there, and it'll send it to your email. Just enter your name and email. I would do it. Just save it for later. It's a resource you can look back at. It's something you could send over to a family member. It's something you can use to elbow your spouse and say, see, I told you so. I told you we needed to do something like that. And they'll say, no, they're just lying because they benefit from it. Guys, it's free, okay? Just get it and use it as you want. And then if you do need help, right? We're coming to the close of the show, so I just want to let you know the things that we can help with. If you're ready to create your will, your trust, your power of attorneys, your living will, any of those documents, we do that where we've got plans all the way from as little as a few $100s all the way up to what our boutique estate planning services are really for, $8,000 to $10,000. But we've got plans all the way in between, okay? And so if you're ready to figure out which one is right for you, then give us a call, 480-750-7788. You can also send a text to that number, 480-750-7788. And you're welcome to ask for that free first phone call. Just get it scheduled. If you just want information about the Masterclass Kit, that DIY service, you can just ask for that. We'll fire it off to you. And figure out what options you like and you think are relevant and important for your family. None of the options are, in my perspective, mandatory. Your job is to learn what they are and make a decision from a place of being educated on these topics. All right, guys? That is it for today. Go out there and start creating your new legacy.